Mangwanani Malelepo Vukenjani Klas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Diana Master on a Monday morning.
A very good morning to you, Ashwin, and a very good morning to you, Africa. Now, today is World Malaria Day, and malaria is a serious disease that is spread by the bite of an infected mosquito. It can leave a person feeling feverish and having the chills. If not promptly treated, the symptoms can be fatal. In fact, more than 200 million people contract malaria each year, and about 500,000 people each year needlessly die from it. We're now going to take a quick ad break and return with the news making headlines. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
Today is Monday, the 25th of April, and these are your top stories. Explosion at Nigerian illegal oil refinery kills more than 100. More than 100 people were killed overnight in an explosion at an illegal oil refining depot in Nigeria's Rivers State, a local government official and an environmental group said. The fire outbreak occurred at an illegal bunkering site, and it affected more than 100 people who were burned beyond recognition, the State Commissioner for Petroleum Resources said on Saturday. Unemployment and poverty in the oil-producing Niger Delta have made illegal crude oil refining an attractive business, but with deadly consequences. Crude oil is tapped from a web of pipelines owned by major oil companies and refined into products in makeshift tanks. The hazardous process has led to many fatal accidents and has polluted a region already blighted by oil spills in farmland, creeks and lagoons. Now, at least 25 people, including some children, were killed in an explosion and fire at another illegal refinery in Rivers State in October.
Moving over to Somalia, blast kills 6 people and wounds several others. 6 people were killed in Friday in a blast at a beachside Mogadishu restaurant, which was hosting Somalia's police chief and legislators when the explosion occurred, an ambulance service said. The government officials were unharmed in the blast, which sparked a fire inside the building, sending smoke into the sky as diners scrambled to safety. 6 people died and 7 others were wounded in the blast. Abdikadir Abdirahman, director of the Amin Ambulance Service, told reporters. The explosion was followed by sporadic gunfire, said Farah Dahi, a diner at a nearby restaurant. No lawmakers were harmed in Monday's assault, which was claimed by the Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab that has been waging an insurgency against the central government for more than a decade. The Horn of Africa nation has seen a spate of attacks in recent weeks as it hobbles through a long-delayed election process to pick a new president.
Niger approves deployment of foreign forces to fight jihadists. The parliament in Niger has largely voted in favor of authorizing the deployment of foreign forces on their territory to fight jihadists. The National Assembly approved the text with 135 majority members out of a total of 166. Now, Prime Minister Ohomodu Mohamedou rejected criticisms claiming that entering into new partnerships in no way calls into question our sovereignty over the national territory. Niger is involved in fighting against jihadist movements with links to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State groups, and has the support of several Western countries such as France and the United States. Now, in addition to the foreign special forces of France and the United States already on the ground, Niger said it was ready to welcome others. In 2021, more than 800 victims, mostly civilians, were counted, and 758 schools with 72,981 pupils were still closed on 31 January 2022.
Now, in our next story, DR Congo records a new Ebola case. The World Health Organization is reporting a new Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Although only one case has been confirmed so far, there are concerns the outbreak could spread as the patient was not diagnosed and isolated quickly. An Ebola outbreak in West Africa between 2013 and 2015 caused at least 11,000 deaths. The hemorrhagic disease has a mortality rate of around 50%. This latest Ebola outbreak started in Mbandaka, a densely populated city with road and air links to the capital, Kinshasa. The patient was ill for more than a week before he sought treatment, and he died the day he was admitted to hospital. The WHO's Africa Emergencies Manager, Fiona Braka, said the delay in medical care is a concern. This is DR Congo's sixth Ebola outbreak since 2018. Its health workers have experience, and it has a stockpile of vaccines. A massive contact tracing operation is now underway and a vaccination campaign. The country's last outbreak was limited. It recorded just 11 cases and 6 deaths. The hope is this outbreak, despite the delay, can be controlled in the same way.
France accuses Russian mercenaries of staging a massacre in Mali. Footage made available by the French military in northern Mali appears to show Russian mercenaries burying bodies near the Gotv base. French military staff described the images as part of an effort by Russian mercenaries to make it look as if the French military left a massacre behind before handing over control to the Gotv base to the Malian army. The Gotv base was home to 300 French soldiers. Control was handed over to the Malian army last Tuesday. The first images claiming that the French had committed atrocities were published this Thursday through social media. Now, France announced the departure from Mali last February amidst growing tensions with the military junta ruling the country. Paris accuses Bamako of employing the services of Russian mercenaries of the Wagner Group. All right, that brings us to the end of the first half of our stories. Now, the death of a mother-to-be has caused health workers to strike in Senegal. We'll be continuing with that after the break.
Welcome back to Africa. Good morning. Now let's take a look at the second half of our top stories. Senegalese health workers strike over the death of a mother-to-be. Health workers in Senegal went on a strike on Thursday to protest at charges filed against 6 midwives accused of negligence in a death that sparked nationwide anger. The National Association of Midwives and several other groups in the health sector said they were joining a work stoppage ranging from 1 to 3 days. The public health system has been paralyzed, Balo Diatiam, at an umbrella group of healthcare workers called ASAS, told AFP. The health ministry, approached by AFP, gave no details about the impact of the strike, saying only that it had taken steps. The affair was sparked by the death of a 9 months pregnant woman named Astou Sokna at a public hospital in the northern town of Louga. She repeatedly pleaded with doctors to perform a cesarean section, but the hospital refused her request on the grounds that the operation had not been scheduled and threatened to expel her if she kept insisting on the procedure, according to press reports. Sokna and her baby died on April 1st after a reported 20-hour wait, provoking an outpouring of anger anger and a vow by President Macky Sall to investigate their deaths. On Wednesday, lawyer Abdu Daf told AFP that 6 midwives had been charged for failing to assist a person in danger. They are to appear in court in Luga on April 27th.
Now, former Guinea President Condé released from house arrest. Guinea's deposed President Alpha Condé has been released from house arrest and can receive visitors, including family members, and the ruling military government has announced. A statement by the military released late on Friday said that the coup leader and interim president, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, informs national and international opinion that the former president of the republic is finally free. The former president will continue to live at his wife's family home in a suburb of the capital, Conakry, until renovations on his own home are completed, the statement added. The 84-year-old was removed by army officers last year and replaced by Doumbouya. Condé became Guinea's first democratically elected president in 2010, with his triumph seen as putting an end to authoritarian rule by the country's two first presidents, who were in power for 50 years combined. In 2020, Condé pushed through a new constitution that allowed him to run for a third term in October 2020.
Now moving over to Ethiopia, Tigray's main hospital exhausts food. The main hospital in Ethiopia's war-ravaged region of Tigray has sent 240 patients home after food supplies ran out last week, officials have said. The decision by Ada Referral Hospital in Tigray's capital, Mekelle, underscores how little food aid is reaching the region despite the government's declaration in March of a unilateral truce to allow aid deliveries. One hospital official who asked not to be named said about 360 patients remained who were able to buy their own food. New patients without food or money were being turned away, he said. Tedros Fezai, a pediatrics ward nurse, said patients and their families went hungry on Thursday, April 14. On Friday, April 15, he said he had to tour the wards and tell them there would be no more meals. 10 patients left. Ethiopia's Minister of Health, Lia Tades Mitiku Kasa, head of the National Disaster Risk Management Commission, did not respond to requests for comment. Conflict erupted in November 2020 between the central government and Tigray's rulers. Since the military pulled out of Tigray in July following months of bloody battles, only a tiny trickle of food aid has entered. Since the government ceasefire was announced on March 25, 71 trucks have made it in, said Michael Dunford, regional head of the United Nations World Food Program. More than 90% of Tigray's people need food aid.
Now in our next story, at least 12 dead, another 10 missing as 4 migrant boats sink off Tunisia. At least 12 African migrants died and another 10 were missing after 4 boats carrying 120 migrants sank off Tunisia as they tried to cross the Mediterranean to Italy, a security official told Reuters on Saturday. Ali Ayari, a lieutenant colonel in the Tunisian Coast Guard, added that 98 migrants were rescued off the coast of Sfax. Now, the coastline of Sfax has become a major departure point for people fleeing conflict and poverty in Africa and the Middle East and seeking a better life in Europe. Now, figures from the UN High Commissioner for Refugees showed that more than 123,000 migrants arrived to Italy in 2021 compared to more than 95,000 in 2020.
Now in our next story, Tunisian president seizes control of electoral commission. Tunisia's president seized control of the country's election commission on Friday, saying he would replace most of its members in a move that will entrench his one-man rule and cast doubt on the electoral integrity. The commission head Nabil Bafoun told Reuters that President Kais Saied's decree was a blow to the democratic gains of the country's 2011 revolution and meant the body was no longer independent. Saied, who says his actions were both legal and needed to save Tunisia from a crisis, is rewriting the democratic constitution introduced after the 2011 revolution and says he will put it to a referendum in July. In his decree on Friday, Saied said he would select 3 of the existing 9 members of the Electoral Commission to stay on, serving in a new 7-member panel with 3 judges and an information technology specialist. He would name the commission head himself.
That brings us to the end of our top stories on Africa Good Morning. That being said, there's so much more coming through in this broadcast. After the break, we have a conversation with the CEO of Paratus Group. Stay with us. Adam Tas is coming to Windhoek to help build a brighter future for education. Join us at the Sounds of Caring concert at Windhoek High School Vegkop on 20 and 21 May, where he will be performing with Von Arends and Rian Smith. Tickets cost $200 Namibian and are available via eticket.my.na. All proceeds go towards the African Child Development Trust. Now, as a company born and bred in Africa, we understand the opportunities that Africa offers to businesses and individuals, opportunities to create your own rules, break boundaries, and live without limits. These are the words echoed on the website of the communications company Paratus. And here, Frank Stefan has a conversation with Mr. Bani Harmse, who is the group CEO of Paratus.
Right. As a company born and bred in Africa, we understand the opportunities that Africa offers businesses and individuals. Opportunities to create your own rules, break boundaries, and live without limits. That is what you can read on the internet page of Paratus Africa Group. And with me this morning, I've got Mr. Bani Harmse. He's the CEO of Paratus Africa Group. So welcome to the show and good morning to you.
Good morning, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about Paratus. What does it stand for? What are you guys up to?
Frank, I think you nailed it in your opening. We were born on the continent. It's a 100% African company owned by Africans, and it's a Pan-African telco. And we've been expanding for the past 20 years since our inception. Been expanding for the past 20 years across Africa, with our main focus being Middle and West Africa. And we go where there's opportunity. We've been exporting our product and service since our inception. And in the last 10 years, we've been focusing more so on Middle and West Africa. And it's been good to us. And we've been growing the company.
So if you say this, I mean, obviously there's opportunities abound. I mean, there's no limit to it. But so where in Africa are you present right now?
At the moment, we've got a fixed presence in 7 countries. If I can just quickly mention them, we've got Angola, Namibia, Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, Mozambique, and then we've just added DRC as well to the list. So those are the countries where we've got a permanent presence. That means we fall inside the regulatory environment that country offers, and we operate inside that environment. That means we've got a presence there, as we have a presence in Angola or Namibia or Botswana or Zambia for that matter. But in total, except for those countries where we've got a fixed presence and where we sort under the normal licensing regime, we provide product and service into 35 African countries. Today, tomorrow, it may be one country less, or tomorrow it may be 2 countries more.
Board, yeah.
And that we mainly do through partnerships that we have in those African countries where we don't have a permanent presence yet.
Yeah.
We deal exclusively through partners in the rest of Africa.
So this thing is mushroomed totally beyond what you could ever dream originally, is it not?
No, I think we were pretty spot on with the dream,
you
with
always
the dreaming
dream
side. Yeah, you have to be big dreamers and take the risk and see what it brings. But Africa is definitely been good to us, and we've been exporting Namibian product and service for more than a decade now, actively more than a decade. But remember, our original roots, our foundation was laid in Angola originally. And then we moved back to Namibia, and then we started tackling the other opportunities or the other African countries where we saw the opportunity.
I think that's where most people are always under the impression Paratus is Namibian, but not necessarily because you are Namibian, so automatically people assume that. But talking about that, I mean, we at Africa Good Morning obviously understand that Paratus is not only about Africa, it's about connecting Africa to Europe and America and actually the world, if you really take it. Connections like the Equianus cable in which you got involved. Tell us a bit more about that. How are you involved and what's the plan with it?
That's a good story to tell. Let me quickly try and summarize it in a short space of time. So Google made contact, I think, 3 years and probably 25 days ago, if I have to recollect quickly. I just got a LinkedIn message one morning. I think it was 4:13 in the morning when I saw the LinkedIn message, and I saw it was a message from a senior Google executive asking the question, or first of all introducing themselves, and then asking the question, would we be interested in possibly landing the Equiano cable in Namibia? Now you can imagine my paranoia when I saw that message for the first time. I immediately used Google to Google a Google employee. Needless to say, everything checked out. So it was legit, and it evolved. Eventually, it ended up in us engaging with Google and ending in a partnership, or culminating into a partnership with them, where we completed the cable landing station late last year, beginning of this year. It's waiting, it's idling, and the final steps will be middle of June, between the 12th and the 17th of June, when we actually bring that cable ashore in Swakopmund.
Actually, right at the beach, is it not?
Right at the beach. Yeah. So it is what it is. Physically, the cable comes out of the ocean from wherever the intersection is in the middle of the Atlantic. Yeah. In the same way the wax cable is in Swakopmund at the moment. This one will just be a little bit north, and that will connect into the cable landing station, like I said, which has been constructed. We were supposed to bring that cable ashore on the 12th of May, but weather conditions didn't permit that. Okay. And we are totally at the mercy of the weather and Mother Nature. Yeah, yeah. And what makes our coastline especially challenging is our Bengala current. It takes no prisoners. It's very harsh. And so we are super excited, and we're waiting for this moment. And then that would form part of our existing Trans-Kalahari fiber, which already extends from Swakopmund through all the towns coming inland into Botswana, and then distributes north and south. But I must say that, we've been delivering wax capacity in the south of DRC for more than 10 years already. Yeah. So this is an add-on. It offers redundancy, it offers more bandwidth available, which we then basically export to our neighboring countries.
But that's the big opportunity, because you suddenly make yourself into one of the leading suppliers of capacity.
We have to. We are forced to export. If you look at the size of the investments that we've been making over the years, it's been huge. Just the Equiano Paratus Telecom Namibia partnership is in excess of 260 million Namibia dollars. Yeah, the deal value on that partnership. The CLS is costing us over 30 million Namibia dollars.
So somebody needs to pay for it, and you need
exactly. It's huge investments. The data center number 4, which we are constructing just north of Windhoek, at about the Deborah off-ramp. Anybody can see that from the highway. If you drive out of Windhoek towards Okanya, 20 kilometers out of town, just look to your left, and you will see our data center number 4, the 4th one that we're building in Africa now. Yeah. And the CLS and Equiano cable will run through there. It is the nature of the cable landing station in Swakopmund is open access. That means anybody can bring in their fiber and make a connection. In the same way, the data center that we're building is also carrier neutral, and we do this in an open access attitude where anybody can bring.
Which is really the modern approach.
Exactly. And the investment on the data center is in the region of 127 million Namibia dollars. Now, it's highly unlikely that we'll ever see the return on investment from just, if I just look at those three alone, and if I look at what the Trans-Kalahari fibre costed us, it's unlikely that we'll ever see a return on investment, given the size of Namibia, given the population, given the size of our economy.
So it's got to go into SADC.
Absolutely. You know, we take it into the rest of Africa.
Yeah.
What makes it, where we are privileged is that we've got a shoreline, we've got a coastline.
Exactly. So
and
we can at least do it.
We can land these cables, we can build the infrastructure and take it in. And you can compare the TKF to the Trans-Kalahari Highway if you want.
Exactly. It's the same principle. Yeah.
Exactly. We do that. We build highways, infrastructure highways, on which the data travels.
Yeah. And so finally, just give us a quick rundown. What's your immediate plan for Paratus going forward?
More countries, definitely. Our focus has not changed from 20 years ago to now. At the moment, we're a 1 billion Namibia dollar operation, if you take the entire group into consideration, based on the exchange rate of the day. Our immediate plans is to double the size of our organization within the next 3 to 5 years. And we think it's achievable.
That's tremendous growth.
Opportunities are there.
Yeah, no, clear, but I mean, it still needs to be done. It's one thing to have the plan, it's another to actually do it.
We execute well.
Yeah.
So we dream it, and I always say, if you can dream something, the next step is to say it out loud, and then write it down. And then you start sharing it with others. And as soon as you can say it and you can write it down, then it's executable.
Yeah.
Don't keep it in your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Otherwise it will never be executed.
Nice piece of advice there, and with that I want to thank you for coming in and quickly sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Right now, we're going to cross over to Zambia and have a conversation with Mr. Mike Sichula about the stories on the ground. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning indeed. Now, President Hakainde Hichilema is today expected to address a press conference following a scandal involving some members of his administration. Could you tell us about this, Mike?
Hakainde Hichilema is expected to address the media at 10 hours this morning. So why this press conference has come about, it is because there is an incident that has happened within his administration that borders on the fight against corruption. Our viewers may be aware that the Director of Public Prosecution, the current one, was appointed by the past administration led by former President Hakainde, President Edgar Lungu. Now, the new administration is not working in good terms with that Director of Public Prosecution. So what happened, there's a case of a provisional liquidator for Konkola Copper Mines. He was arrested for money laundering activities involving about 4.4 million United States dollars. So what followed is that when he was arrested, the Director of Public Prosecution entered a nolle prosequi, or he discontinued the case. A few days later, this provisional liquidator was arrested by the Drug Enforcement Commission. So what has been happening is that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and the Director General of the Drug Enforcement Commission have been fighting in the public media. So I discontinued the case as DPP. Then the Director of the DEC rearrested the person. So these happenings has led to a situation where some key members of the administration have been cited to agree with the KCM provisional liquidator to discontinue the case, according to the lawyers representing Mr. Miringolungu, the former KCM provisional liquidator. So these happenings have created a situation where even President Hakainde Hichilema and his vice president and other ministers have been cited to say, we agreed with the government of President Hakainde Hichilema to discontinue this case. So a number of people are expecting that President Hichilema, as he addresses the nation, is going to touch on this, and among other issues such as the high cost of living, which is against his promise when he was in opposition.
All right. Now, we understand that police are investigating the abduction of 2 female mobile money agents, a crime which the police chief has described as alien to Zambia. Please tell us more about this.
Yes, this state of affairs has shocked many people, especially persons who are operating mobile money booths. So what has been happening is that there in the picture is one of the young ladies who was abducted a week ago by 2 people, and following her abduction, the abductors sent a video where she was shown being beaten with a metal bar, and they were demanding a ransom. That picture again there is of another mobile agent who has been abducted, who has been missing for a few days now. So in total, the number of female mobile booth operators who have been abducted totals to 3. The first one was abducted together with a child, but a few days later, the child was discovered, but the mother was never discovered to date. So these happenings are linked to foreign nationals to commit such crimes, and police. The latest case, like for the lady in the picture, the latest details on this is that the mobile phone that she was using has been recovered. It was dumped at one of the dump sites in one of the densely populated communities in Lusaka. Yet police did not find her. So they are trying to institute investigations, and these investigations have now been extended across the country, because these crimes are happening across the country. Just a few days ago, one of these abductors wanted to get hold of another female agent, but she was quick enough to refuse their proposal, which they are selling to these abductors before they can get them and take them captives of them. So it is something that is shocking a number of Zambians.
Shocking indeed, and we certainly hope all those women can be safely returned home. Now, in the next story, the International Drug Company Limited is setting up a pharmaceutical plant in central Zambia to help the country avert the drug shortage. As briefly as you can, Mike.
What has been happening in Zambia is that most of the drugs are imported. So these international pharmaceutical companies are now coming closer to Zambia so that they begin to manufacture these drugs locally, and the Ministry of Health can procure these drugs locally and be able to save costs at the minimal levels. So this plant is expected to create a number of jobs once all the modalities for it being to be set up are concluded by the government and including the company itself. So this is one of the positive things that are happening in the central part of Zambia, in Kabwe to be specific. About 500 direct jobs will be created at the initial stage.
All right, and finally in sports, we understand Zambia emerged as boxing champions during the 2022 Zone 4 Africa Boxing Championships in Maputo, Mozambique. Can you briefly tell us about this?
Yes, during the boxing tournament, Zambia won 5 gold medals, 3 silver medals, 3 bronze medals. There were 12 athletes, boxers who went there. Only one of them did not manage to get any medal. So in the attached picture is Mr. Patrick Chiembe in the middle, a Zambian who picked up a gold medal, and he also participated at the 2020 Olympics. So that's some of the good news happening in the boxing fraternity, and Zambia emerged champions.
Wonderful to hear. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the pertinent stories from Zambia.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning.
Africa, good morning indeed. And if you're hoping for an Africa good day, a good place to start is checking out the weather forecast. Up next.
Welcome back to Africa Good Morning on this beautiful Monday. So now we jet on over to Zimbabwe, where we speak to Talent, who gives us the latest news on the ground. Good morning, Talent.
Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Ashwin.
How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
Great. All right. Now, in our first story, police recover fake US dollars in abandoned vehicle. Please give us the details on this.
Police in Kadoma have recovered fake United States dollars with a face value of 1,300 United States dollars from a vehicle that was abandoned by 3 men believed to be part of a syndicate manufacturing fake notes in the country. The 3 were intercepted in Kadoma after they had bought chickens at a house in Norton just after Harare, before they drove off in a Toyota Axio. A report was made to the police after the victim discovered they had been given a fake 100 US dollar note. Police Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati confirms the incident, saying that the police acted on a tip-off and they were able to arrest to intercept the vehicle at a toll gate. When they got to the vehicle, the 3 men who were in the vehicle, apparently they ran away and they left their vehicle. So the police then searched the car and they found 13 100 US dollar notes, fake United States dollar notes. And this is not the first time that the police have actually intercepted vehicles or even arrested people using fake United States dollar notes. So the police have since advised the public to be on the lookout of these fake 100 US dollar notes. Usually these people, they print out 100 United States dollars, fake 100 United States dollars. So they usually go to people who are not suspecting, or those people who do not know the real features on the real United States dollar, and they use those fake notes to buy something from those people. So the police has since said that the public should be on the lookout of such scenarios and such notes.
Truly worrying indeed. Now, also significantly worrying, a standard loaf of bread now costs more than $2 US after the price shot up by 30%. Could you tell us about that, Talent?
Well, apparently in Zimbabwe, a loaf of bread now costs 345 Zimbabwean dollars, which is approximately 2 United States dollars. This follows an increase in the price of flour 7 days ago by 17%. The Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe last Thursday increased the prices of maize and wheat by 50% and 17.8% respectively. As a result, the price of 10 kg bag of rolling meal rose from 1,099 to 1,665, but a loaf of bread traded unchanged until the latest increase. With the official exchange rate at $1 US as to 150 Zimbabwean dollars, it means that Zimbabwe's loaf of bread is now the world's most expensive dough. However, most retailers are still selling the bread at $1 as they are largely tracking the parallel market exchange rate of $1 as to 350. So the increase in local dollar terms will heavily weigh on workers who are still earning salaries in the local currency. But as it stands, people are still using, they're trading at $1 because they are using the parallel market rate. They are not actually using the official rate.
All right. And finally, can you briefly tell us about the 2022 population and housing census that recently kicked off?
Zimbabwe carries out its census, its population housing census after 10 years. So the last census was held in 2012, and now they have since started this year's census. So the census people are going around in each household asking questions regarding to the people who are actually living at each household. So they are saying that the census will take place it started on last Friday, and will take place up until next week, Saturday. And the data is going to be released within 6 months after they have actually collected everything. So yeah, that is all for now on the issue of the census.
All right. Thank you very much, Talent, for bringing us the news stories from Zimbabwe. Thank you, Talent. All right, Talent just brought us the news stories from Zimbabwe, telling us about the fake US dollars, the standard loaf of bread being the most expensive in the world right now. Shocking news. But of course, if we're talking about things like US dollars, you are inclined to talk about economy. So economic news after the break. Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Let's get into your economic news stories. IMF reaches agreement with Benin on $658 million extended credit facility. The International Monetary Fund has reached a staff-level agreement with Benin. Now, the program is intended to help the West African country address pressing financing needs related to security, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the war in Ukraine, as well as anchor its national development plan, the IMF said. The agreement is subject to approval by IMF management and the executive board around mid-June 2022.
Moving over, Tanzania, US sign investment agreements worth 11.7 trillion shillings. Tanzania and the US have on Friday, April 22, signed 7 agreements for business projects which are set to be implemented in Tanzania by investors and companies from the United States of America. The signing of the agreement was witnessed by President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who is in the United States for a 2-week official trip. According to a statement issued by the Directorate of Presidential Communications, the deals with key private sector companies are worth a total of $5.04 billion and are expected to create an estimated 301,110 jobs in agriculture, tourism, trade, and other sectors of the economy.
Now, South African Reserve Bank to raise by another 75 basis points this year. Now, the South African Reserve Bank is now expected to lift its repo rate 25 basis points in May and 50 basis points in third quarter, according to a Reuters poll in which inflation forecasts rose again as rising costs increased the chances of second round effects. 13 of 17 17 economists in the April 14 to 21 survey concluded that the bank would hike its repo rate by 25 basis points to 4.50% at its May policy meeting, almost in line with the March poll. That brings us to the end of our economic news stories. Economic indicators up next.
Now getting into our sports news. If you missed some of the action that happened this weekend, fear not. Ari has you covered with our sport news.
Yes, good morning, Diana and Ashwin. Yes, firstly, soccer news. It was a busy weekend in the English Premier League, and the results from the weekend, the big news from the weekend is that Liverpool and Manchester City still just 1 point adrift on top. That is Manchester City. They beat Watford comfortably by 5-1. They still have 80. They have 80 league points, and then 79 points Liverpool. And Liverpool, a tough derby they had. They had the 2-1 win against Everton. 2-0 win against Everton. That's a game. Arsenal against Manchester United. The big result for Arsenal. They beat Manchester United by 3-1. That's a significant result for them. They move into the top 4 at the moment, and that is very lucrative to be in the top 4. And Tottenham Hotspur is 5th at the moment. That is the soccer news from the English Premier League. Now on to some Formula 1 racing. It was in Italy, Emilio Romagna, the Grand Prix that was there. That is Red Bull driving in front there, and that's how it ended. It is Max Verstappen that won the 4th Grand Prix of the year in the Red Bull Honda, and the second is teammate Sergio Perez, and that is Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was the favorite, or was leading the points table quite comfortably before this race, but it was not a good weekend for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc ended in 6th position, and Carlos Sainz fell out early because of a crash. So it was a big result for Honda, Red Bull Honda, and they made up quite a lot of points. Lower down, it was Lewis Hamilton that still struggles, unfortunately, for Mercedes, and he was down in 14th position. On to some boxing news. There was big boxing in the UK, in the United Kingdom. 2 big heavyweights of Britain that fought at the Wembley Stadium. That's the action. That is Tyson Fury on the left there against Dillian White. It ended in a knockout win for Tyson Fury that retained his WBC title. He is still unbeaten after 33 fights. And he also announced that he will retire. I'm not too sure if that's going to stand. I think he will probably want to fight against Anthony Joshua when that opportunity comes up. 94,000 people that was in the Wembley Stadium. So it's quite incredible how many people watched that fight in Wembley. Now on to some rugby news. There was a Women's Six Nations that was played in the UK, and it is still France and England that dominates. That's the game Italy against Scotland. It was Italy that beat Scotland 2013, but the 2 significant results was England that beat Ireland by 69 points to 0, and then France beat Wales. That was 33 points to 5. Both those teams still unbeaten. They've got 20 league points after 4 games, and they will play in next week on the 30th of April in France. That will be kind of a final as well. That's the men's rugby. That is Leinster playing against the Sharks, and it was Leinster that is in the United Rugby Championship. Leinster that played in Durban against the Sharks, they lost 28-23. Stormers in Cape Town had a great win against Glasgow Warriors. That was 3rd on the log. Stormers now 2nd on the log. They in good position for home semi-finals. And then the Bulls that beat Benetton by 46 points to 29.
All right,
On
Ari.
to,
Thank you
just a
very
quick-
much for bringing us the sports stories. We're going to have to end it at the rugby, but you and I, being Stormers supporters, I'm sure we don't have a problem with that.
No. It's a good week in Cape Town, and have a brilliant week, everyone. We talk again. Talk sport throughout the week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
All right, we certainly hope to have a great week. This is still Africa Good Morning. Your highlights after the break.
Welcome back. Now let's take a quick look at the recap from the highlights from today's broadcast. Bus crash kills 35 people in Zimbabwe. Somalia blast kills 6 people and wounds several others. Niger approves deployment of foreign forces to fight jihadists. DR Congo records new Ebola case. France accuses Russian mercenaries of staging a massacre in Mali. In Tunisia, oil pumping operations to begin after shipwreck.
Those have been our stories. Now, of course, you can catch a repeat of this show from 8:30 on DSTV channel 285, Gotv channel 94. And every single weekday, you can catch Africa Good Morning. Same channels, DSTV 285, Gotv 94, oneup2.com. Make sure you don't miss us. And if you do have any comments, any contributions you'd like to make sure you contact us on our Facebook and our Twitter at Africa Good Morning. It's the beginning of the week. That means endless possibilities. Let's have a good one from Diana Master and Ashwin Berry. Take care.